Alright guys, we're starting on the other exhaust manifold this week. Obviously last week, or for the last couple of weeks, we did one exhaust manifold and the external wastegate and all that stuff. This week we're starting on the other side, so it's basically just the same job again. I'll try and keep it pretty brief this video because you don't want to see the exact same video that you've already seen. So we'll just do lots of time lapses and try and film some of the welding a bit better. But yeah, it is essentially going to be the same thing that we've done for last week, which is kind of tedious for me because I know how long it took and how much effort it was to do the last one. Now I've got to do it all over again, but hopefully it'll go a little bit quicker. But before that, I'm going to cut some more stuff out of the engine bay because the secondary firewall kind of still gets in the way a little bit, like not that much, but we could trim some of it out. So I'm going to get the angle grinder out and have a go at that. Alright, so it's not finished yet, but it's kind of as much as I can be bothered to do right now. It'll do, it frees up a lot more space. Obviously I'll tidy things up and finish it off at some point, but yeah, it frees up a lot more space around these parts here because that's where the manifold is going to be going. I didn't realise how much of it was hollow as well, like there's a lot of extra metal that is not really needed, I guess. But so yeah, we're going to start on the other side of the manifold now. First thing I've noticed is that this side is actually further over to the right compared to the other side. Like the other side starts about here and finishes about here. So this is further over, which actually makes it a little bit easier because it means we don't have to avoid this engine mount quite so much, because that was sort of right in the middle before, so that's a bit better. Doesn't mean we've got less room to sort of make things fit the collector that's going to be about here though. So we've got all these bits of metal from, well, we've got the collector from Walton Motorsport, and I bought a load more bends, like a load of like long 90-degree bends, some 45-degree bends, some short 90-degree bends, loads of stuff, and a big section of straight stuff so we can cut some pie cuts out and some straight bits. Got all these from Nero, and I just want to say a big thank you to them because they actually reached out to me after I placed the order for a load of this stuff and said that they'd be willing to offer a discount and help support the build. So that's cool because like, obviously I hadn't even approached them. They actually said they'd seen the videos and were keen to help support us, so that's really cool. Big thank you to them. I'll put a link to their website in the description. If you need any Schedule 10 or Schedule 40, I think it is, stainless steel, they've got loads of stuff like this, and it all comes with a bevel already on the edge, which is nice. Saves me a lot of time. So yeah, we're going to try and put all this together to make an exhaust manifold. Let's go. Okay, so I've just finished welding up the second runner. The welds are going okay, like definitely neater than the first side. And most of them are the right kind of colour. Apart from over here I started to rush and they're all purple and messy. But yeah, it was going well, so I'm slowly improving. But yeah, we've still got to do the third runner, which is going to come around here and then go into there. So let's get on with it. Okay, we're skipping ahead quite a bit here to the point where the runners are all done. I didn't film every single little bit because you've seen it all in the previous video. And yeah, it just slows things down, filming everything. So yeah, finally got it all done. It's taken quite a lot longer than I expected, as usual, but it is all done. There was a few bits that didn't fit again once it was all welded up, so lots of fucking about with pie cuts and stuff down here. But it's on, it fits, clears the engine mount, and it clears the starter motor, so we're golden. What I do need to do though is just put it in the car, like the whole engine obviously, and just make sure it doesn't hit any chassis or anything weird. Like I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but we'll just double check before we go any further. My safety tyre out the way. Trying to think if it's going to be better to try and swing it in with the manifolds on or to put the engine in and then put the manifolds on. I think we'll just try and swing it in with them on. Hope that we don't smash them into anything too much. She's going. She's going. Are we hitting stuff? Not yet. Not yet. And just stay out of the way. Nope, I've made it worse. Nope, I've hit something. That would be the subframe. Oh, there we go. Like a glove. And this definitely doesn't hit anything, but we need to check and make sure the collector is kind of pointed in the right way. I mean, I've already checked this once when I did the first runner, but after welding everything up, things tend to move around a bit. So we're going to double check before we weld anything else on. Well, we kind of need to check anyway, to be honest, to actually start lining up and welding the big section that's going to come off there. Don't be doing that. Now the engine kind of slumps back when there's no gearbox on it, so it will actually sit up like that instead of back like that how it is now, but it'll give us some idea at least. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, she fits beautifully. Look at that. Never doubted it. It's definitely a lot better than this side. Like we've got a lot further away from the gearbox and it's kind of pointed more in the right direction. But yeah, this side was definitely harder because we had the steering column to worry about. So I knew that the manifold couldn't sort of come out very far this way. Whereas obviously on this side, we don't have to worry about that. We've got all this space. So that was a lot easier. Oh, and while we're looking at the engine, that's just reminded me of something. I've actually got another engine, which might sound a bit weird, but basically Abbey Motorsport, the place where I'm taking my engine to get built. I know a lot of people keep asking like, oh, are you still using stock internals when you go twin turbo? No, I'm going to have forged rods and pistons, lower compression ratio, valve springs, all that stuff. We'll probably go through all that in another video. But yeah, Abbey Motorsport are building my engine. But if I just took it to them and they have it for like a month, maybe a little bit longer to build, then I can't really carry on fitting stuff. Like I need an engine in place to be able to fit stuff around. Like because we're so tight for space, I know I keep going on about this in every video, but because we're so tight for space, I can't just kind of rely on like a rough measurement of where the engine is. I need to have the actual block in there with all the ancillaries and everything on most of the time so I can actually test fit everything around it. So yeah, if I just took my engine down to them, I wouldn't have an engine for like a month or so, and I wouldn't be able to test fit anything. So it kind of stalled the whole project for a long time. So yeah, they very kindly lent me this one, which is like a spare rev-up engine that they've got. Rev-up is like the version after my engine, but it's basically identical. Like the only difference I think is this has got variable intake timing or exhaust timing, one of them, whereas mine hasn't. So yeah, that's literally the only difference, but everything else is identical, so it'll be perfect for me to test fit stuff around. I need to transfer a few bits off mine, like this one's got no engine mounts on. So yeah, I'm going to basically send mine down to them sometime in the next few days. They're going to start the build. Like I said, we'll go through all the specs and stuff of like the rods and pistons and all that sort of stuff in a separate video. But I just thought I'd mention, in case you suddenly notice that the bell housing looks completely different, that's because at some point we'll be swapping from mine to that one to test fit stuff on. But yeah, that's enough blabbering on about engines. Let's carry on making this thing, which, like I say, I think we need to put the gearbox on before we can really do anything else, because this is going to have to come super close to the gearbox. So yeah, let's get this big boy back on. Right, we've got the gearbox back on, as you can see, and I've put the manifold on. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to mount this second turbo, which is actually proving to be a bit more difficult than I expected, just because we've got to kind of angle it a bit, because like the turbos are obviously both the same, and you see the inlet for the turbine housing is on the sort of left-hand side of this one. So on this side, we can't really have it straight up like that because it ends up hitting stuff. So we need to kind of clock it over a little bit to the right like that.
A few moments later.
This is what I've come up with, just welded it all in place. And if I offer the turbo up, you get some sort of idea. It's kind of hard with one hand because this thing's fucking heavy. But yeah, you get some sort of idea of where it's going to sit. So I'm just going to weld the last bit on, and then we should be good. The one thing that's going to be really awkward on this side though is the external wastegate. If we look on the other side, the external wastegate comes off through this gap between the chassis and the gearbox. But because the turbine housing sits further over on this side, we're not sort of in that gap there. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do about that. The easiest thing would be to come off this straight section here, but I'm kind of holding off on that because I might cut this in half at some point and put a V-band clamp in there so that we can take this whole section off really easily. Because at the moment, the only way to take the turbos off is with the 4 bolts that go around here that are like really awkward to get to. Also, I don't think I've mentioned yet this turbo blanket, but you can probably see I've not fit it particularly well yet, but you get the idea. It's from Funk Motorsport. They've actually come on board as a sponsor this season for the my first season in BDC and helping support the build. So that's really cool. Big thank you to them. There's loads of heat shield stuff that I've got from them that we'll go through in another video. Because heat is going to be such an issue on this, yeah, it's really, really handy being involved with them because I'm going to need a lot of heat shield stuff like that. Like there's going to be gold tape everywhere. There's going to be heat shield all over everything basically because the exhaust manifolds are so close to everything. But yeah, I guess the next thing to do is to mark this up. Yeah, mark this up so that we know exactly where we're putting the turbo flange and then weld it up. Right, trying to actually hold this in the right position while I get a tack weld on it. It's going to be fun. She's all tacked up and ready to go. Oh, actually, we need to clean it first. I know I said we were going to find a better way to film the welding, but I couldn't really find a better way, so we're stuck with this, I'm afraid. Is this the thing I'm looking for? What does that say? What does that say? You're supposed to read this. It's tiny. I want to say it's the right one. Good enough for me. Let's go. Oh, it's making such a crackly noise. Maybe I didn't clean it enough. It's always so awkward. You do like the first easy bit and then trying to balance this thing in a position where you can actually weld in the direction that you want is a bit of a cunt, as we are now discovering. What do you mean? How am I supposed to get that to sit? Oh, Jenga. Yeah. Yeah? No, yeah. Yeah. I know you can't see anything, but you'll just have to trust me, there's some like world-class fabrication going on. You just can't see it. Oh yeah, world-class. World-class. Whoa! The whole thing started to fall down mid-weld. That is not what you want. Where's my little blanket? There's my little blanket. There she is. Right, we've got the very last bit to do, and then we'll go see if it actually fits still. Done. Place your bets on whether it's actually going to be in the right place. Probably not. Probably not. You see, the last few welds that we did, like this one, and this one, not too bad. Like, obviously they're not perfect, but for the most part they're okay. They're fairly tidy and they don't look horrendous. But then the very last one was a bit sketchy again. So, I don't know. Bit hit and miss still, but definitely improved a lot over the first manifold. I'll compare the welds. I'll put them side by side at some point so you can see how bad the first one was. But yeah, this one's slowly getting a bit neater. Anyway, yeah, let's go see if it fits. It actually fits pretty perfectly. I don't even think I need to remake this clutch line. So that's a nice bonus. Like, I think that'll actually go straight through there and be okay. So yeah, that's turned out as well as it could have done, really. We've got like an actual decent amount of clearance. Well, for this car, we've got a decent amount of clearance between there and the gearbox. Like, all round, it's looking pretty good, really. So yeah, what I need to do now is clock this turbo, because you can see the oil drain there is not facing straight down. Like, it needs to be the sort of lowest point of the turbo, basically. So we need to clock that, and we also need to clock the compressor housing, because at the moment that's just pointing straight into the chassis. We need to point that upwards a bit so that we can get a 90-degree fitting, well, not fitting, but a 90-degree bend off the end of there, to sort of point off up that way somewhere. So yeah, let's do that. Right, I've made a mark on the turbine housing where we want to get this oil fitting to sort of point at. So we've basically got to undo all these bolts, which are not very tight because I've already undone them before. Right, so now it spins around. So we want it to get it so that the oil fitting is pointing about there. That should be about perfect. So nip all these up. The other side, the compressor side, that is a bit more of a pain because there's no bolts for that. It's just a big snap ring. But to be fair, on this turbo, it's actually not that bad. On the other one, on the other side, when we were trying to clock that, it was a fucking nightmare. But for some reason on this one, the snap ring is a lot more cooperative. Right, I just twisted that around a tiny bit more, done it again. And now we're looking a bit better. That's more like what I wanted. So now we've got to figure out where that needs to point. Because I don't know if you can see, but it kind of points off up there. So yeah, for this you need some circlip pliers or snap ring pliers, whatever they're called in your country. And it's a massive fucking circlip. So don't let it smash you in the face or anything. So what we want to do is rotate this round that way a little bit. Just turn it a tiny bit and then put this back in. There, she's in. So let's go see how that looks. Yeah, that's a bit better. That's a bit better. Kind of points off more sort of that way rather than straight up there now. And like, again, because I just don't want it to be super close to the manifold basically. So if we point that way first and then go up, that would be better. So yeah, I don't think we'll actually need a 90-degree bend on it. I think we can probably get away with a straight or a 45. So yeah, we're getting somewhere. Still got sort of the external wastegate, like I say. I think I'll probably wait until the V-band turns up and see how well that's going to work. I say see how well it's going to work because I'm not 100% sure it's going to fit this particularly well, because this is like an awkward size pipe, and I couldn't find a V-band that's like the exact right size. So I've got one that's a tiny bit larger, it's like 2 mil larger. And I'm going to see, like when I put it on sort of around the pipe, see how big the gap is, see if it's weldable or not. So yeah, we'll just wait for that to turn up now. It should be here in the next couple of days. Okay, we're going to end the video here because it's taken a couple of weeks to get to this point. I know I said there'd be like weekly updates, but it just took a lot longer than I thought to do the second manifold. I don't really know why. Should have been quicker, if anything, but it's taken longer than I thought. So yeah, we'll get this video out now. I'm not going to wait until I've got all the wastegate stuff done, because that's going to be a couple of days waiting for the V-band to turn up, and then we'll see where things fit. So yeah, we'll put this video out now, and then at least you've got something to watch, and then there'll be another update in about a week or so, which will probably be just the same as the other external wastegate video, but what are you going to do? I figure it's better than just not putting any videos out at all. So yeah, I'll see you next week for more exhaust manifold stuff, hopefully the last exhaust manifold video, and then we can move on to more fun stuff. Yeah, see you there.